Practice of the Bhagavad Gita, day 55. And today I have chosen two shlokas to be taken together. That is in Adhyay 11, shlok 53 and 54, both together. Bhagwan is talking to Arjun. Naham veder na tapasa, na danena na chejyaya, shakya evam vidho drashtum, drishtavanasi mam yatha, bhaktyatvanyaya shakya, ahamevam vidorjuna, Jnatum drashtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. Bhagwan says, neither by study of the Vedas, nor by penance, nor again by charity, nor even by rituals, can I be seen in this form as you have seen me. Bhagwan has just shown his Vishwarup Darshan to Arjun. Through single-minded devotion, however, I can be seen in this form, nay, known in essence, and even entered into, O valiant Arjun. Bhagwan has just shown his Vishwarup Darshan and tells Arjun that all these sadhanas will not make you get this darshan of me. Only single-pointed devotion will. Now, when we read shlokas like this, we get highly confused because all shastras need to be studied under the guidance of a guru. If you just read this shlok by itself, you'll understand its literal meaning and you will be completely thrown off the track. You will not be able to progress on your spiritual path and you might even regress. Here in this shlok, Bhagwan is actually giving Arjun the gyan that sadhana has to be done correctly under the guidance of a guru, not just by reading a book randomly, especially a classical shastra, Veda, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad. These texts, these shastras, these teachings are put in such a way that only a guru can actually explain it to you. So this needs to be understood very clearly. So what is the correct way of doing these sadhanas? 5 sadhanas are given over here. Let's see all the 5. First, Bhagwan says, neither by study of the Vedas. You cannot see me by the study of the Vedas. So should we not study the Vedas? Should we not study the Shastras? Of course not. You have to. But it is not enough to attain liberation. Just by reading and trying to make out the meanings, it's not enough. Then what should one do? Studying is one part. After that, you have to contemplate on what you have studied. After that, you have to introspect. How does this gyan, how does this teaching apply to me in my life? Even that is not enough. After that, you have to actually implement the learning. If you don't implement what you have studied, then the study of the Vedas will not give you liberation. And that is the meaning of neither by study of the Vedas. You have to study the Vedas, then you have to implement the teachings. Secondly, just studying by yourself and thinking that you have understood, and now that you have understood, you are a big jnani, that can lead to abhiman of gyan. Like Ravan. Ravan was an extremely learned jnani. He had learnt all the shastras very well, but he didn't implement a single thing that he had learnt, and that led to his downfall. So sadhana is apply the knowledge after studying the shastras and don't develop ahankar. And you will develop ahankar if you do not study this along with the guru. So that has to be really very clearly understood. Then Bhagwan says, you will not be able to see me even by penance. Penance means tapasya, austerity. But penance, tapasya, austerity is an integral part of one's spiritual journey. But it must be done according to the recommendations of the Shastras. People try to do any penance that they think that they should do. It's not about what you think you should do. You need to do it according to the recommendations of the Shastras under the guidance of a guru. All right. Second, some people like Hiranyakashipu, some Rakshasas have done severe tapasyas. But what is the motive of the tapasya is important. The motive or the reason for a tapasya is to get rid of our mal, our vikshep, our vasanas. That is purifying the mind, the antakaran. But some Rakshasas, as we have seen earlier also, do tapasya to get vardhan. And mostly their vardhan is that they should not be killed by this one, that one. They want immortality. They want wealth. They want riches. So this is not a reason for doing tapasya. So if you want to do tapasya, do it to conquer your avguns, to conquer your vasanas, to clear this antakaran. So that is why just by doing tapasya, you will not get liberation. Then Bhagwan says, nor again by charity. Charity or dan is not going to liberate you. That is a fact. Charity or dan will give you punya. With punya, you will go to Swarga. You'll have a nice holiday there for a while. Then you have to come back to earth. After that, punya is exhausted. So what kind of punya should you do? There are three kinds of punyas we have studied in the Bhagavad Gita. Tamasic, three kinds of dan, tamasic dan, rajasic dan, and sattvic dan. So if you want to do dan or charity, firstly, don't do it grudgingly. I have to do this, that, with so much of, vikshep in the mind. So don't do it that way. And also, don't do dan to get recognition. Don't do dan to get reward. Don't do dan so that somebody will give you a pat on the back, because that kind of dan is rajasic dan. If you do dan to an undeserving person, not at an appropriate place or time, then that kind of dan is called tamasic dan. So if you want to do dan, do it without any strings attached. Do it with a bhav of duty, because that is your duty. It is part of your dharma for all varnas and all ashrams to do dan. Do it to a deserving person without any expectation of return, reward, recognition, and at an appropriate time and an appropriate place. Then Bhagwan says, you will not get to see me, you will not get my darshan, even by doing rituals, puja. Puja which is done mechanically is tamasic. Puja which is done to show off, I'm doing such a big yagna, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, that is rajasic. And puja which is done very fast to finish off and then go to work, that is also rajasic. So if you want to do puja, and you should do puja, there should be a bhav in that puja, and that bhav should be an expression of your joy. You're not doing puja to get something. You're doing puja to express your joy. You're doing puja to express your gratitude. You're doing puja to express your bhakti. That it should be a giving, not doing puja for a taking. All right, that's the fourth. And the fifth point, Bhagwan says, is there anything I should do by which, is there anything that Arjun you should do if you want to get darshan of me? Bhagwan says, yes, there is. There is single-minded devotion. If you have single-minded devotion towards me, you will surely get darshan of me. And this darshan will come in 3 stages. The first stage will be that you will connect with the manifested form of Bhagwan. See, he has just given Vishwarup darshan. After that, the single-minded devotion will give you the knowledge of the essence of Bhagwan, Nirgun. And then Bhagwan says, the shlok says, even you will enter into me, you will merge with Paramatma. So single-pointed devotion, single-minded devotion towards Bhagwan will give you these 3 outcomes which will happen serially, one after the other, going deeper, deeper and deeper, leading to merging with Brahma. What will that sadhana be? How will I do this single-minded devotion? I'll tell you tomorrow. Let's chant right now.